Oh, we're going absolute bare bones tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a special episode of the Coach and Company Show. What a day, Mr. Mikey Pendleton, to do a special show. This one just went final, the Eagles and the Chiefs. We got a lot to talk about, big boy. We got a lot to talk about, but we're going to get right into it. This game right here, even as a Chiefs fan, I'm not even frustrated at the loss. I'm frustrated at the way that we lost. I'm frustrated that Travis Kelce dropped one at the goal line that turned into a pick going the other way. I'm frustrated that we have no wideouts. I'm frustrated that the defense played pretty well, and I had to watch that damn tush push for 4 or 5 different times, including a false start that they didn't call on the touchdown that would have put them up by. But I want to get your reaction before we break this down. And then we're going to get into all the games. For those of you joining us right now, thank you on YouTube or on social media. But the Eagles, Mikey, improved to 2-0. The Chiefs fall to 0-2. I don't know if Mahomes has done that during his tenure, but they got a lot of work to do. They need bodies back. What was your thoughts on this game right here?
Yeah, watching the game and as we're getting ready to go live, I go, man, that score really should say 27-17. You've got the missed field goal by Butker. You've got Kelce dropping the pass in the end zone. But it's one of those things, if I could play, devil's advocate for Eagles fans and really try to cheer up Chiefs fans like yourself, Coach. If I'm Patrick Mahomes, if I'm Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, at least this is a team full of a lot of self-pride. I don't know what kind of mood Travis Kelce is going to be in going into next week. You would think a guy getting married to Taylor Swift with multiple Super Bowl championships is the happiest man in the world. He injured Xavier Worthy, and he has a costly drop this week. So I expect this team to bounce back. And as people start to get healthy and Rashee Rice returns from suspension, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be world beaters, but I think they'll be okay.
Well, we need to get to, as the 8,000 points in the first inning, runs in the first inning. I agree with you. I mean, we lose. Eight, 6 for 108 through 2 games. And he clearly has lost a step. He's clearly not moving as good as he should have. But you got to turn your head around and know that inside the 15 or 12, whatever it was, that ball's coming out. And it's going to come out fast. And it was right. The other part that is frustrating is, as well as our defense plays, that we allow way too many gashing plays at the worst time. Against the Chargers, couldn't stop them on third down. The key game, or the key play, 3rd and 14, Herbert goes with his legs 25 yards. Today, kind of more of the same, even though they played a little bit better. But it's when Mahomes has 66 yards rushing, he did everything he could possibly do. And some guy named Thornton, who caught that long touchdown pass. I mean, when we got a guy named Thornton, that's an issue. So it certainly wasn't a pretty Super Bowl rematch. It certainly wasn't even nearly as good as the other games are today. But if you're an Eagles fan, you look at that schedule, you got to be happy starting 2-0, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're an Eagles fan, you're like, wow, way to escape with 2 weeks in a row. Dallas had him on the ropes. The Chiefs had him on the ropes. What the Eagles are benefiting from are drop passes. And if I'm Nick Sirianni, I'm going, hey, that's not, especially Vic Fangio, hey, that's not going to happen week in and week out. Coach, one thing, too, that was big for me throughout the NFL this weekend on this Sunday was there was a lot of plays. I know you and I, before we went on air, we're talking about the Cardinals and Panthers game. There were a lot of plays, and this is today's NFL, so I'm not really complaining on it, where quarterbacks are just heaving it, and as long as the receiver tries to do anything, throw his body, his chest into the corner, it's pass interference. And now with that being a spot foul, it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know what defensive backs are supposed to do anymore. We saw it in the Chiefs-Eagles game late in the game. They sent the blitz, Devonta Smith. You almost think the Chiefs corner is going, I can't touch him. I can't touch him. I can't do anything.
Well, how about turning your head? Yeah. Let's start with, you're a professional. You're not the idiots we watched last night in college who can't guard anybody. You're turn your head. Turn your head. So the Eagles, the next 2 games, I mean, their schedule's tough. They come home and they play the Rams, beat the Titans 33-19. Then they go to Tampa, home to Denver. We're going to get into that game next. Giants, Minnesota, Giants again. So I guess it's not that difficult. Afterwards, though, Green Bay, Detroit, Dallas, Chicago, Chargers, Vegas, Washington. It gets real tough after the bye week. So congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. They win the rematch. And Andy Reid, you better start digging down deep. You've got work to do. Now, we could go anywhere with the off in about 40 minutes. We'll get into that game a little bit, but this is kind of more about talking football. This is just us talking the game. And I don't know which was a better game. The non-cover with the Broncos, so I'm not going to go there next. I'm going to go to the Giants and the Cowboys. 40-37. Over 40 points in the fourth quarter alone. Russell Wilson had NFL on CBS tweeting out, no Giants quarterback has ever thrown for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Oh, wait. That didn't age all that well. Let me go back to exactly what they wrote on NFL on CBS. Okay, Russell Wilson is the first Giants quarterback with 400 pass yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in a single game in 40 years. They sent that at 4:36. Okay. Well, clearly that was sent before the overtime, because in the overtime, they had the ball back. It was either tie or win the game. And for whatever reason, he throws a jump ball down the left side with 2 minutes to play and just gives the ball right back to the Cowboys. But this was the game of the year. I love the fact that Greg Olsen got this game and Brady had the Chiefs game, because this was a much better game. But when you look at Russell Wilson, great game till the end, 450 yards, 3 touchdowns. 67. Robinson 142. Dak 361. CD Lamb, you and I easily catch that. 9 for 112. An incredible game. But if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm very, very excited, because that was a game that you shouldn't have won. Oh, by the way, they tied the game with a 64-yard field goal from a dude who can kick it probably 100. He's the greatest kicker I've ever seen. They literally played for a 64-yard field goal. Your thoughts on this game?
Brandon Aubrey was special. I actually looked at my better half, because the Cowboys are coming to play the Bears in week 3. And I go, I don't want them coming in 0-2. I go, call it right now, make or miss. And she's like, make. And I'm like, all right, there we go. She called it. So, props to her. But the funniest thing about this entire game was listening to that broadcast. And you're right. Thankfully, football fans were graced with Greg Olsen and Joe Davis, but they're praising Russell Wilson. And, Coach, I love being a part of Coaching Company, but I always thought I'd have a career in stand-up comedy, especially if I could just make sports jokes. So here I was on Twitter going, I love them talking about Russell. This is the Russell Wilson of old. And then we saw why they moved on from old Russell Wilson, because he couldn't have thrown a more sky-high ball. It was a center fielder catch. He was just waiting there.
Well, what about the fact that they said after the same Hail Mary touchdown, which I think is what you're talking about, to Neighbors, when it was the same pass way up and way down, perfectly into the breadbasket. Except this guy wasn't on his team.
There was no one near him.
That's a problem.
Just playing center field in a secondary on a football field is not what you want to see as an opposing quarterback. Here's the good thing for the Giants, and shout out if you can say anything, but shout out to Big Tommy C if he is okay. I would love to do a welfare check on Tommy C.
I did. He's not happy. He's not happy. He's not happy.
But, this will silence, at least for right now. I know it's a brutal interception, but when you have a game like Russell Wilson had, you're going to silence the Jackson Dart kind of chance for now. I go back, because it's not, Coach, you know this very well, it's not just one play. As much as we key on that interception, how about the replacement left tackle getting penalized 4 times on the first drive, trying to fight his coaches and teammates on the sideline? You just put yourself behind the 8 ball if you're the Giants starting off like that. So for me, the Giants played beyond their expectations in this game. But if I'm the Cowboys, you're showing a lot of life through 2 games. And I would be very happy if I'm Brian Schottenheimer.
So next week, you have 0-2 New York Giants taking on the 0-2 Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football in the Meadowlands. So it's going to be a long week for both teams, but at least they have the national stage to themselves next Sunday night. Now, speaking of the Broncos, you want to talk about gutted if you're a bettor. You want to talk about gutted. This is a team that went in to take on the Daniel Joneses, and all of a sudden, I know people were making jokes about last week. All right, it's the Dolphins. It wasn't even 300 yards. What are we talking about? Well, today, I watched this entire game, and the way Daniel Jones played, 316 yards passing, 1 touchdown, in control. Jonathan Taylor is a beast, 165 on the ground. But the way they lost, and I hate the Broncos, but I have, I'm in different pools. I make picks. I had the Broncos laying the 1. They had the ball. And he throws a horrible interception. That's fine. Come down, they hold him to a field goal after a long run. You're good. You're up 2. And then you get very, very conservative. And then they get the ball back again. I've never seen teams, Mikey, play for long field goals more than what we're watching right now. But the Colts played for a game-winning field goal from 60 yards for a guy that's never made one past 50 in the NFL. And then the Broncos, some idiot wearing number 93, they have new rules where you can't jump over the center. He jumped over the center. So the guy missed the field goal kick like everybody knew he would. Wait a second. Anybody that took the Broncos, there's a flag, and it's a personal foul. 15 yards. So now that 60-yarder turned into 45, straight down the middle. Broncos lose 29-28. Who is more at fault? Number 93 or the fact that Bo Nix in the fourth quarter couldn't get them off of 28 points?
I said it after week 1, and I'm saying it again. I have serious concerns about Bo Nix in his sophomore season. And I know people could have all the comments in the chat about me being a Bears fan and Caleb Williams, and that's fine. I'll die on that hill. But if I'm Bo Nix, man, you were a favorite coming into this season as the team to knock off the Chiefs in the AFC West, to surprise in the AFC. And now you just look like a team with a veteran coach and a very young quarterback who's vulnerable to making a lot of mistakes. I want to put this on Bo Nix, but if you're 93 and if you're the defense, if you're the special teams coordinator, you get everyone together and say, he's never made one, like you said, Coach, past 49. When you guys get out there, put your hands up. Don't even rush them.
That's it.
Just put your hands up.
That's it. They gave you a gift. They did not try to get more yards. Thank you. And just say, you know what? We'll see if you can make it, young man. We're talking about a guy I think played CFL football. Right now I'm watching Andy Reid doing his post game. Of course, I love Andy Reid, but my God, get angry, swear one time, get pissed off, something. We've gotten so used to going to the AFC Championship and beyond that these losses don't bother us anymore, or at least him. All right, so Denver loses. Where the freak? They're tomorrow night. I keep forgetting about 2. So the Chargers play the Raiders tomorrow. So somebody is going to be 2-0 and have a 2-game lead over the Chiefs, which hasn't been done in a really, really long time. The other late game, another gutted play, -7. My book had it down to 6.5. They're up 27-3, Mikey. 27-3 in the fourth quarter. Cash the tickets, baby. Cash the tickets. And then they decided, the Fighting Kyler Murrays, let's go play a little Call of Duty. We don't need to play the fourth quarter. And they gave up 19 straight. And then they gave them the ball back. And they got it into their territory. And I was like, you know what? Just go down and score. Just complete the comeback. Go 26 straight in the fourth quarter to have one of the biggest comebacks. But alas, the Cardinals got to stop on the last drive of the game to win it by 5. Another brutal non-cover if you had the Cardinals, which I did.
Just an absolute, and the way things were building up, you couldn't have given it to Carolina anymore. Their first onside kick recovery in 89 games. Let that sink in for a second. And then 3 defensive penalties to continue the drive, including 4th and 5, 3rd and long. Like the Panthers were just given opportunity after opportunity. And I'm sorry, I don't want to drag him because I think he's a very good team player. I think he's good for the locker room. But if you're relying on Hunter Renfrow to lead your team to the comeback, you're probably not in the game. So if you're the Arizona Cardinals, what are you doing? The Panthers have an horrible rush defense. Give James Conner the ball, feed him the entire fourth quarter, keep your offense on the field. Just such an embarrassing performance in the end for the Cardinals.
But alas, they are laughing at us.
Yes.
Because they are 2-0. And all they care about is winning the football game. So they've beaten the Saints and they've beaten the Panthers. And both finishes were down to the last second. You had the Fighting Spencer Rattlers last week, and today you had the Fighting Bryce Youngs, who couldn't get it done. So the Cardinals, the last one of the 2-0 teams in the league. What are we doing? All right, let's go to the early games now, and we got to go to your squad because we talked on the morning show about everybody's kind of on the over, and I asked you why, and Raphael's like, man, everybody's on the over. Well, today, one of their 12 games, 10 of the 12 went to the over, 73 points in your game. Your Bears scored 21. They gave up 52. And Jared Goff, my goodness, when you talk about some of the numbers that he had, 334, 5 scores. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 for 115, 3 scores. Jameis Williams, 108 in 2 catches. He had a score. So the Lions said, hold the phone on our demise. We're still a pretty good football team.
They also said, we don't really need Ben Johnson. Jared Goff, fun stat here for you, Coach. 3rd time in his career in which he's had 5 touchdowns and no interceptions in a game. That's he's a 3rd quarterback to have 3 of those type of games in his career. And I believe he's done them all with Detroit. Hats off to Jared Goff. And hats off to Ben Johnson, who has completely taken this game on himself. And a lot of people are just going to dog Caleb Williams because it's so easy to do that now with all the bravado that he brought to this franchise and upon himself. Your offensive line commits 6 penalties. In 2 games, the Bears have 20 penalties. That's undisciplined football. And when Ben Johnson was asked, hey, how do you feel about Dan Campbell going for it on 4th and goal when they're up 45-21? He goes, Dan Campbell goes for those. Do I expect him to kick a field goal? No, he went for it. That's what he does. No excuses from this new head coach. I got to tell you what, Coach, he needs to turn it around quickly because I believe they've packed his bags. They just haven't put him on the airplane at O'Hare Airport in Chicago. It's getting bad already.
Wait, you're talking about Ben Johnson? I've never seen 2 games?
I've never seen a head coach dragged more than Ben by Bears fans, but it's more on Ryan Poles in this one for me.
Well, Ryan Poles came from Kansas City. He was like the assistant there for a long time. And for some reason, he's never taken the blame. Every time you guys change something, head coach, he stays. He's the GM to the stars, apparently. But let's be honest. I mean, they gave him, a 5-year contract?
Yeah.
Right. They're not getting rid of him in year 1 or year 2. He was given this football team. All right. They're not going to blame him. So the Bears fans like yourself can drag him all you want. I drag Andy Reid all the time. He gave me 3 Super Bowls. But let's give him a chance to get his own players in there. All right. 2 games.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on. And this is a we won, but we lost type of situation. So the Jags and the Bengals, and this one went back and forth the entire day. Another went over 31-27. The Jags had a lead in this game for pretty much the entire game. Lead or tied until the very end. Here's the crazy part. Joe Burrow did not lead this comeback or did not lead this team in the last, 2.5 quarters. He only had 13 pass attempts. He's going to be out with turf toe for several weeks, it's being reported. So Jake Browning came in, 249 yards. He did throw 3 interceptions, did pass for 2. So you talk about gutty, getting the job done. They're 2-0, lose their quarterback. But if you're a Bengals fan, you're probably like, hell, last year we were 0 and whatever, and we had our guy. So maybe this.
Yeah, Jake Browning's a guy who's filled in for Joe Burrow in the past, and he did a serviceable job. So if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm mad at this offensive line because they continue to get Burrow killed game after game after game. But, if I'm Zach Taylor, I have to be happy that my team's 2-0. But, as bad as the injury is for the Bengals, and I think it really shifts the power. We're seeing a lot of power being shifted in the AFC. I think moving forward, we really just have to look at Buffalo and Baltimore. And it's going to be between which 2 of those teams either runs with it or coughs it up if the Chiefs or someone else, comes out of nowhere in the back half of the season. But for me, with the Bengals and the Jaguars in this game, Coach, another fun little bit I saw on the sideline. How about Trevor Lawrence missing his pass and Liam Cohen in his first year smacking his chest, going, hit him in the chest. There's so many great moments today, and we haven't even hit Sunday Night Football. But the Bengals, I don't want to say they're in trouble because we've seen Jake Browning step up. You throw him into the fire in the middle of a game, I'm not going to expect a great performance. But if he has to take over the reins, if I'm a Bengals fan, I feel a little bit better than most teams with a backup quarterback.
Yeah. By the way, Travis Hunter, your Heisman Trophy winner, your double-sided player, 3 catches, 22 yards. So he's really making a difference on offense for these Jags. Trevor Lawrence, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a lot of interceptions, 5 total between these 2 separate quarterbacks. So you mentioned Buffalo and you mentioned the Ravens. Both got it done today in dominant fashion. Of course, I was on the Buffalo over, so I picked one of the 2 overs that didn't come in today. You talk about the betting guys saying, Coach, just stop. So 30-10, and James Cook, who got his new contract, he went for north of 130 yards. This was a game where the Bills clearly said, I wish they would have called me and said, we just want to get in. We just want to get out. And that's exactly what they did. And guess what? Raphael, if you're watching right now, yes, Justin Fields sucks. They didn't score their touchdown until 3 minutes to go in the game. So maybe they are who we thought they were, but the Bills now 2-0 with a bullet. And I think that right now Josh Allen has kind of morphed away from the MVP. I got to have big time yards I just need to figure out how to get it done every single week. He doesn't care about that. He cares about getting to the Super Bowl.
That's it. That's it if you're Josh Allen. Real quick, Coach, I want to make this note. Travis Hunter, you mentioned his kind of lack of performance. 42 snaps on offense, 38 on defense. So a full share of a game for him in this week. But let's go to Josh Allen. Like you mentioned, for Josh Allen, it's no longer about stats. We're no longer living in a Madden universe for Josh Allen. This has to be about winning games week in and week out, whether you're coming back and throwing for 200 yards in the fourth quarter, or you're beating a lowly Jets team. You need to become undeniable. You are the MVP coming off of last year, but now you need to become a force to be reckoned with in the NFL. And that means week after week going, I don't know if any lead is safe, and I don't know if we can ever get close to the Buffalo Bills. And right now, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, 138 yards passing. That's all he only threw it 25 times today. He only threw it 25 times. Cook ran it 21, 132, 2 scores. Justin Fields.
Injured. Did get a concussion.
Yeah, I know. But Tyrod Taylor, they completed 10 passes today out of 22 attempts. This is an NFL team. Let's remember that. This is NFL. This is not a junior varsity team in the middle of Oklahoma. So the Jets fall to 0-2. And if I'm a Jets fan, just like if I'm a Giants fan, we're now 0-4 collectively in that stadium.
I think you froze up on me here, Coach. The Jets and Giants are 0-4.
Jackson, 2 carries, 13 yards. Derrick Henry.
We lost, Coach. I will jump in here. I want to thank everyone. Yep, there you are.
All right, there I am. The Wi-Fi today, it's been crazy. My TV hasn't. All right, R. Jackson, 13 yards passing. Derrick Henry, rushing. Derrick Henry, 23 yards rushing, and they scored 41 points against the Browns. How embarrassing.
Can I just say the Browns are the Browns? I mean, that's just what it is. Like, that's one of those games where you just look at the scoreboard, you're like, okay. Did anything help on my picks, or did anything help my fantasy teams, right? I had the Ravens in my survivor pool because, of course, I did. It's just one of those games where I don't think you get much from a win like this if you're looking at the Ravens as a whole. This is a game they had to have after collapsing against the Bills. They did what they expected to do, and now you just wait for a real game, right? This is like in college football. When Clemson lost to LSU, they barely got by Troy, and then they lost again. So you got to make sure you don't have a second letdown if you're the Ravens, and they got to keep moving forward because they got to get momentum back on their side.
Did you just use the word collapse? Did I hear you use the word collapse? Correct?
Yes, I did.
I could have swore you were talking about Pittsburgh when you use that today, because Aaron Rodgers, all the smirks. Oh, you went to New York. Hey, you're the toast of the town. The Seahawks came to town today, and they hung 31 on the Steelers. They held Aaron Rodgers to. Let me check my notes. 203 yards passing. Their leading rusher had 48. He also was the leading receiver as well. That's a problem. That's a problem. And Sam Darnold is saying, J.J. McCarthy, hold my beer. He had 295 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions for a team that could only muster 13 against San Francisco. So I don't know which Seattle team is the real one, but they're 1-1. So is Pittsburgh. Who do you think is the better team?
I think one team is led by a 400-year-old Aaron Rodgers, and the other team's led by Sam Darnold. So I'm going to say neither, if I can, because this is and we talk about overreactions in the NFL all the time. I saw all these Steeler fans, and shout out to our chat queen Kimberly, who is one, going, "You got to cut the rookie Caleb Johnson because he didn't know the kickoff rules, which are the first year they're in place and allows Seattle to get a touch." First of all, calm down. That's a rookie. Like, it's okay to make a mistake in the NFL. I don't understand all these, pundits that are on social media. But listen, this is a Steelers team that you would have thought they were going to force feed DK Metcalf in this game. Devon Witherspoon did not play for the Seahawks. He's their top corner. How you don't feed DK the ball against his former team makes no sense to me. And then, Sam Darnold did just enough. I think we saw that a lot in today's Sunday slated games. Quarterbacks doing just enough to get their team the victory.
Man, I tell you what, it was. I feel like sometimes the OCs try to get so cute, and they try to, man, we got this incredible game plan. We got to stick to it, and we're going to do it, and that's what the numbers tell us to do. And they get out there and like, wait a second, we're down by 10, or we're down by 14. How about we go to our stars to get back into the game, which is exactly what you're talking about. Shout out to the 49ers. Without Brock Purdy, they go to New Orleans, and just like last week against my man Spencer Rattler, he had the ball at the end of the game. And do you know how you can't deliver and complete a pass on 4th down, Mikey? Do you know how you can't do that? If you get sacked, which is what happened for the second week in a row. But Mac Jones, you got to have a quarterback, a backup who's played in the league. You just have to. He went in today, 26 of 39, 279, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey, we talked about on the morning show, didn't we? Said he can't touch it 31 times. He didn't. It was 19 times. That's a big difference. That's 12 less than what he had in week number 1. 55 on the ground, 52 in the air, 107 total. San Francisco, they're 2-0. It's not pretty, but does that matter?
No, it doesn't matter. And if you're Kyle Shanahan and you're, the lead guy there in San Francisco, this is exactly what you needed. You needed Mac Jones to come in and just run your offense. I don't know how many Niners fans would be going, "Oh, wait, McCaffrey got less with no Purdy, with no Kittle, and we won the game." Now, the devil's advocate is, yeah, but you guys played the Saints. Yeah, but in today's NFL, it doesn't really matter who you're going up against because any given Sunday, and when Mac Jones is the quarterback, yeah, if it's Brock Purdy going up against the Saints and you escape, we're having a different conversation. But Mac Jones did just enough, and he played into his game under his head coach's offense, and that's all you need to succeed in the NFL is the right system with the right guys who perform in the right moments.
Well, think about it now. You've got 2-0 San Francisco. You've got 2-0 Arizona. You've got 1-1 Seattle. And what's the other team I'm missing?
2-0 Los Angeles Rams.
Don't ruin my flow. The 2-0 Los Angeles Rams, who they went to Music City. They went to Nashville, Tennessee. They hung a 33 spot on your number 1 pick in the draft, Cam Ward, 33-19. This was a much closer game than 33-19. It was a pretty competitive for most of it, but Matthew Stafford is one of those quarterbacks that we're talking about. When you get to a certain age or you get to a certain point in your career, if you're willing to take 40 or 50 mil, you've got to be willing to deal with the consequences. And I feel like right now Stafford is willing to do anything it takes, just like a Josh Allen. And he does have his one, but he'd love to have one more before he's done, which may be an impossibility. But there's a lot of these veteran quarterbacks that now don't want 400 yards anymore. It's almost like, Mikey, 450. It has to be like the Giants game played out because no quarterback cares about that anymore, and they should not.
I absolutely agree. And while it may suck for fantasy numbers or for over-unders when you're betting passing props, listen, at the end of the day, wins matter most. And I'm actually happy that we're getting back to this in the NFL. You know, gone are the video game numbers, back are victories matter most, because too often we would see these quarterbacks taking chances that they didn't need to take and costing their team game after game after game, right? There's only been one Brett Favre, right? There's only
That's
one
it.
crazy gunslinger. And shout out to Matthew Stafford, but he falls into that same category for me, even though I would say he's a better quarterback, like a Jared Goff. Goes somewhere else. You don't know what you're going to get, but he gets with a guru in Sean McVay, and he just does what he has to do. I don't think it's any more difficult than that, Coach.
No, I
It's as
agree.
simple as that.
All right, so let's look quickly at the standings where they are, knowing there are still 6 teams left to play. 2 tonight, of course, the Falcons and the Vikings, and then 4 tomorrow with Monday Night Football. So in the NFC, Mikey, Philadelphia's 2-0, Green Bay's 2-0, Minnesota playing tonight, Tampa playing tomorrow. They have a chance to be 2-0. Nobody else in their division, by the way, has a dub, so they could have a 2-game lead over everybody tomorrow if Atlanta loses tonight. And then you got 3 2-0 teams in the NFC. So the early look is the NFC West could have multiple teams. Now, in the AFC, you've got Buffalo, they're 2-0. You've got Cincinnati, they're 2-0. You have Indianapolis, they're 2-0. And then the Chargers or Vegas will be 2-0. So you'll have at least one 2-0 team in every single division in the AFC, which is pretty cool. So let's look tonight at Sunday Night Football. And over at BetMGM right now, they have the number at 3.5. The Vikings coming off a win over the Bears. The Falcons nearly came back last week, missing a late field goal to lose to Tampa by 3. So 0-1 against 1-0. The money line is minus 175 for the Vikings, plus 145 for the Falcons. Who do you think has the edge tonight? Michael Penix on one side, J.J. McCarthy on the other.
When you throw for nearly 300 yards and your kicker costs you the game, I got to go with Michael Penix has the edge in this one. I think Atlanta is starting to build a young trio of dynamic weapons with Kyle Pitts, Drake London, who might be one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL, and Bijan Robinson, who is a younger version and a new era of Christian McCaffrey, who can do it all for the Falcons offense. So I think the Falcons have a more dynamic and more versatile offense. It's going to be interesting to see how their defense does against J.J. McCarthy, because momentum is a real thing in the NFL.
All right, let's talk quarterback. Let's talk running backs first. Bijan, his number is 65.5, minus 115. That's pretty average for a starting running back in the league. Is somewhere between 60 and 70. Jordan Mason on the other side is at 56.5, laying 3 nickels. If you had to, and you had to bet on one of these two to go over their number, who would you go with?
I'm going Bijan. I am a big fan and believer of Jordan Mason, but I also believe that Kevin O'Connell is going to figure out in game which hand is the hotter one between Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones, and he'll ride that hot hand. Aaron Jones didn't get benched for his career, so I like Bijan Robinson if I have to pick between those two.
And then in the air, Justin Jefferson, 76.5, also laying 3 nickels. Drake London, who you mentioned, he's at 68.5. Then you got Darnell Mooney at 38.5. So if you had to with JJ or Drake London to go over their number, who would you go with?
As much as I love Drake London, I think we're going to see Justin Jefferson get a lot more involved than he was against the Bears. I mean, he still scored a touchdown, but, you know, we saw in week 1 a lot of star receivers didn't get a lot of targets. And then week 2, we've seen them get just force-fed the ball, except maybe DK Metcalf. So when I look at, you know, J.J. McCarthy, now when you have that momentum, now you can really find your rhythm on offense. You can go to your star receiver. And I think Justin Jefferson has a bigger game, but I don't hate that number on Drake London either.
Yeah, I don't either. And I also think that Minnesota this week, they're going to be playing from ahead instead of from behind. I really think what happened last week against the Bears is that the Vikings had a game plan, and the game plan was to protect J.J. McCarthy, try to win very workmanlike. And then they're down 17-6. And they said, you know what? We've got no choice. We've got to let him go. And what they realized when they let him go is that he's a pretty good quarterback, that he can fit it into seams. He can find his guy. He found JJ across the middle, just threw an absolute dart to Jefferson for the touchdown. So I think that they realized that the way they won last week was a blessing. if they would have won 24-14 and he would have thrown for 130, they would have known how good he is. They wouldn't have known how he can handle the pressure in a primetime game. How many rookies, and yes, he's a rookie, start their season with a primetime Monday game and a primetime Sunday night game? That's a lot of pressure to start your career under the lights 2 different times in a row. Do you think he handles it well tonight?
And not only that, not only the primetime slot, right? But the comeback on Monday night, and now your first game at home in primetime, because the Vikings fan base is on fire, right? Look what the kid did on the road, Monday Night Football. And then it's like, it can't get any brighter than your home stadium with the crowd backing you, that annoying skull horn that they play right before kickoff. You know me, I'm a hater. So no, I think for JJ McCarthy, this game might be bigger for him than the comeback against the Bears, because this is at home and you want to show that it wasn't just one quarter of luck. I want to see JJ McCarthy play a complete game. It's kind of a different narrative for both young quarterbacks. Michael Penix, great game. Kicker blows the game. JJ McCarthy, not a great start in week 1, leads the comeback. So which quarterback is really ready to take over for their franchise? We'll find out tonight.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So, I'm not sure if weekday wagers is going on at halftime. They talked about it. I think they might be going on. One thing I know for sure is that we'll be live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for Coaching Company. We're going to start doing a little power rankings. We're going to be talking about the weekend rewind. I don't even know how we're going to limit it to one segment, to be honest with you. And then, of course, we have 2 Monday night games to talk about. Then the Monday night grind tomorrow, special start time, 6:45 p.m. Eastern time. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel where you're watching right now, I encourage you to do so. Turn on your notifications. Every time we start a show, you will be dinged, and you can come over, hang out in the chat away, and discuss. So as we head into the final 3 games of week number 2, if I had to ask you, Mikey, who are your 3 best teams right now, collectively factoring everything in to what we've seen so far, who would those 3 teams be to you?
I am going to have to wash my mouth out after I complete this, but I am going to say Buffalo, the Green Bay Packers, and I honestly think Coach TBD, because I want to see what the Chargers do on Monday Night Football. They look like a very good team. I know that's not great of me to talk about them beating the Chiefs, but they look good right now. But I definitely put Buffalo and Green Bay as 1-1 as the top 2 teams in the AFC and the NFC. I want to give it to Philly, but I can't give it to Philly. That was not a game. You should have won that game by more, and honestly should be thanking your lucky stars that you didn't lose that game if Kelsey doesn't drop that pass and Butker makes the field goal. So for me, Buffalo beat the Ravens. The Eagles squeaked by with 2 very lucky wins. I want to see what the Chargers do before I give out a 3rd team.
Oh, not me. Not me. I'm going to give that 3rd team to the Ravens, because that was just a little bit unlucky. It's like playing downhill. You're at Buffalo and you gave up that lead. You still scored 40 against the Bills. And today they didn't even have to do anything, and they scored 41 points. So you're not going to tell me that throughout 18 weeks that offense and Lamar Jackson is going to be slowed down much at all. I think there's going to be a battle all the way down to the end for the best record in the league, and I think ultimately the Ravens and Bills will be 1-2. Packers on BetMGM tonight last week, I called them as my NFC Super Bowl team, and I really feel like they have, with Micah Parsons, the right guy to be that emotional leader. And I really think, oh, look at that. I hold the phone for a second. I didn't even know that we could do this. So shout out to Kevin Walls. All right, Kevin Walls just gifted. And did you figure out how to put him up on the screen, Mikey?
I did.
Hey, we're all learning. We're all learning. Shout out. He gifted 5 premium memberships. Kevin must have had a good day, and I love how we pay that forward. It's very random with our system. So I see the 5 people in the chat. You have a little star next to your name. You're now a premium member. You get extra episodes every single day. And also, we're going to be starting some primetime shows like this one that will be premium only. Normally, this would be premium only. So now the 5 of you are there. Fantasy Life, Taj, who else? Teppy, Bart, and Sweet Bets. You guys are now Coaching Company premium members. Kevin, shout out to you. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Let's build up that premium side. Do you disagree with me putting the Ravens in my top 3? Because if they would
No.
have beat the Bills, they would be your number 1 team right now. Would they not have?
Yeah, they would be, but I can't put too much stock into beating the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry, I just can't. So, and I know the Chiefs. I mean, for me, the Chargers have a bigger win over the Chiefs than the Ravens have a bigger loss to the Buffalo Bills. And what I mean by that is the Chargers showed me a little bit more. And if I'm the Ravens, you had that game. You had that game all the way through. Fantastic performance by Josh Allen to lead the team on a comeback. If you're the Ravens, you cannot allow 200 yards passing in the fourth quarter.
I understand that. I get all of that. I just think it was one of those situations where it wasn't Lamar Jackson's fault that Derrick Henry fumbled the football. It was just one of those things. It wasn't like they just threw it back to him. Now, did I like the play calling on the last? No, I didn't. I thought it was bad. 2 runs and a 3-yard crossing pattern. That I will put on them. But, I mean, again, we're talking hypotheticals. We're talking, it's week number 2. So it is what it is. All right, almost perfect timing. 41 minutes. We only wanted to go 45. We got in almost every single game. Don't tease me to do this every single week because I'll do it. I'll do it because this is a ton of fun.
I loved it. You know I'm gonna send that text after Friday.
Oh man,
I'm gonna send it.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. You guys enjoy Sunday Night Football. It starts here in about 4 minutes. We'll see how Michael Penix does tonight. We'll see how JJ McCarthy does. We'll be live tomorrow for a full hour. Don't forget, we also have a podcast that we tape around 11:15 a.m. Eastern time, right after the morning show, where we talk about the stories a little bit deeper. Tomorrow, the show will do itself. So we encourage you to watch, whether it's social media, YouTube, all of it. Come right here. Mikey, good job tonight. Great producing by you. Great producing by you.
I'm just happy for the opportunity. You know, I feel like Mac Jones. As long as I got us on the air and I didn't fumble. I want to say this before we get off the air. We are no longer calling it fumble the bag. We are calling it we Nico'd. There is no more fumbling the bag. We just Nico'd because he is the ultimate fumble the bag in football history.
Do you think that when Deshaun Foster, I think that was the head coach's name, when they sat in that room last year and they said, yeah, let's give him $2 million. Now, I know it's a pay cut for him, but he's going to change our offense. He's going to change our school. He's going to be the second coming of an 0-3 quarterback. And then Foster got fired today. You ever wonder why Chip Kelly left and went to Ohio? Is he still at Ohio State, Chip Kelly?
Las Vegas Raiders OC, Chip Kelly.
Can this dude stay with one team longer than a year? My God, I can't even keep up with him. I think he's like a OC for hire these days. Pay me $3 million, I'll come. Pay me $4 million, I'll come. Man, the days of assistants making less than $1 million, most of those days are gone. They're getting paid these days.
Chip Kelly, the hottest coach on coaching Tinder, right? He's just waiting for someone to swipe right. We need somebody.
he better be happy with this $3 million and just stay because you had your chance in the NFL and back in college after you left Oregon, which you never should have done. Yep. If you would have stayed at Oregon, he'd have a couple national championships by now. But he chased the bag. And now, boy, Oregon's looking pretty good right about now, isn't it?
Yep.
Las Vegas Raiders, stop. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Mikey P, I am the coach. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And as we sign off the air, Broncos, you're dead to me. Cardinals, learn how to cover. Chiefs, you've got work to do. Until then, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Take care.